So do you ever look back at some of the things that you used to tolerate and let slide and think, what the F was I thinking? Because I know I do.
You in the past, I'm in the future. You mad?
Thank you all so much for clicking on this video. If you're new here, my name is Keela Trishan and I make videos on lifestyle, womanhood, mental health, and I'll throw in some vlogs here and there. And if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back and thank you for your support. Okay, so in today's video, I wanted to discuss 5 behaviors that I no longer tolerate. They say when you know better, you do better. And as you get older, you learn more about yourself, you gain knowledge about the things that you're willing to accept and not accept. And I have learned a lot. I'm sure some of these things may resonate with you. So if you are interested, go on ahead and stay tuned. Okay, so the first behavior that I no longer tolerate is tardiness or lateness. Now, I know that not everybody is prompt. I'm not even the most prompt person, so let me explain. I plan my schedule based on what I have to do. So if I agree to go somewhere, which I rarely ever want to go anywhere, I'm a homebody. So if I plan to go somewhere and we scheduled a certain time, I'm looking to stay within that time frame. For example, if we say that we're going to brunch, around 12 and we're going to do, 2 hours, then typically after those 2 hours, I have something else planned, whether that be me running errands or, coming home and doing nothing, whatever. I typically plan my life in slots. And so when I say I don't accept tardiness or lateness, basically what I mean is people that just have no regard for your time. Like, that we are supposed to be somewhere at 12 and you don't get to me until 12, or you have me waiting somewhere when you said that you'd be here at a certain time. And it's like a chronic thing. Like, I understand things happen, so I'm not talking about the one-offs. I'm talking about people that are chronically late. So I don't accept it because it's just not how I operate. If I tell you I'm going to be somewhere, I'm going to be somewhere at that time. And for me, I just simply, instead of getting mad at the person and instead of, ruining a friendship or relationship, I see you where you are and I treat you accordingly. So the things I typically do is I'll take my own car because I know that, certain people aren't going to be there when they say they are. So instead of me waiting around on you, getting frustrated when I already know the deal with said person, I'm just gonna go on ahead and take my own vehicle and be responsible for my own time. If I say I'm gonna be somewhere at a certain time and you decide to get there later than what I said, I'm still gonna stay there for the time frame that I said I was gonna be there. So if I said I was gonna be there from 12 to 2 and you don't get there until 1:30, I'm still leaving at 2. So we'll have 30 minutes to interact. Don't look at me like I'm crazy because I'm leaving at 2. You already knew I was gonna do that. So that's kind of how I operate in that sense. So yeah, I don't accept lateness or tardiness. And again, if you have an excuse and you let me know ahead of time, again, I get it, things happen. Give me a heads up, let me know, because maybe I can switch some things around. But if you're just chronically late and you don't have any regard for my time, then I'm gonna treat you accordingly. Okay, so the second thing that I do not tolerate, and this is a relatively new term, but it's something that I haven't tolerated for a long time, and now I kind of have, I guess, a name to put with the behavior, and it's gaslighting. So if you don't know what it means, gaslighting is basically when you say that something bothers you, or, you express your feelings on something, and instead of somebody actually listening to what you're saying bothers you and trying to figure out a way to move forward, they basically make you seem like you're crazy, or they bring up other things to kind of invalidate your feelings, if that makes sense. So yeah, like for me, I have always been a person where if a close friend of mine or family member, somebody that I genuinely care about, tells me that something I did bothers them, even if I don't think it's a big deal or I think it's dumb or whatever the case may be, I look at it as it was important enough for you to bring to my attention. So I do want to take it seriously, because if it bothers you, like, let's figure out how we can move forward. And I expect the same. So I've been in situations where, like, somebody has really done something crazy and I bring it to their attention and they make it seem like I'm tripping. Those are red flags. Like, that's some narcissistic behavior, okay? And so I don't deal with that. And then I've also been in situations where, people do things that they didn't think were a big deal. Like, genuinely didn't think were a big deal. And when I bring it to their attention, they treat it as if it's not a big deal. And so in a sense, I'm just kind of silenced or made to feel like my feelings aren't valid. So I know that everybody's tolerance is different, but for me, that's not something that I will accept in a friendship or close relationship. So if you gaslight me and it's something that you always do, then I'm probably gonna put some distance. But it did take me some years to kind of get to that point. I've accepted that behavior in the past and made excuses, but at this point, like, anybody that knows me, anybody that deals with me, they know where I stand. And if I say something is bothering me, I mean it. And we can either figure out a way to move forward so things don't happen again, or we can just not deal with each other. So yes, I do not accept gaslighting. Okay, so the third behavior that I do not accept is peer pressure. Now, I think that this term a lot of times is used like when it comes to like young people or teenagers, because there are like a lot of things that you can be pressured into doing when you're young and you just don't know better and you want to fit in. But sometimes peer pressure happens in adulthood. You know, it might be, I don't know, your friends wanting to do a certain activity that you're not necessarily comfortable with, but then you feel pressured into doing so because you want to fit in, you want to be included, whatever. It could be family members, it could be anybody, but anything that you are feeling pressure to do, I consider it peer pressure. So I don't accept it anymore, because if I say I don't want to do something and I'm not comfortable with doing it, I usually don't need much convincing otherwise. I've typically already done the work internally to know that I don't want to do said activity or, you know, whatever it is. And so if I feel like you're trying to pressure me, then I am going to react negatively 9 times out of 10. Depending on the severity will, you know, determine if you just get a simple cuss out or if you get cut off. But, you know, people pressuring you to do things that you don't want to do, it's a red flag, and it's not respecting your boundaries. So take that into consideration. You know, if you always have somebody that's pressuring you to do things that you don't want to do, or you always feel like you're in uncomfortable situations with certain people, then you need to evaluate that and just see if it's something that you want to tolerate moving forward. For me personally, I do not accept it. Like, it's one thing with like somebody trying to push you out of your comfort zone. That's one thing, and I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about people, I don't know, like if you have a limit of 3 drinks or something and you're at a party and somebody's trying to like push you to drink more, things like that, like those type of things I don't tolerate. So yeah, I do not take peer pressure, honey. Okay, so the fourth thing that I do not deal with like anymore, will not deal with moving forward, is that nice, nasty, catty, and immature behavior. Now, in my experience, I've had this situation with women, haven't really had it with men. I don't know if there are many men that do this, but in my experience with certain women, you'll have people that act like they're your friend, like they're almost a frenemy. They act like they're your friend, and they're always making like slick comments or just saying like bullshit that doesn't need to be said. Like basically they're saying things to kind of let you know that they don't really F with you, but they're still effing with you. Like that fakeness, right? I don't do that. You're either my friend or you're not. Like, I'm not playing that in between mess or anything. Like, I need to know that you have my back. I don't do the nasty nice because I'm not 13 years old, okay? I'm mid-30s, and anybody that's around me, like, you need to genuinely F with me because I genuinely F with you if you're around me and in my circle. Now, there have been times in the past where I've had friendships and I feel like I knew all along that said person didn't particularly care for me, or they had some type of issue with me, whatever it was. And I would know by, you know, their energy, the different comments that they made, just, you know, people saying things like that, like if we were not friends, would be a complete insult, but they try to say it like in a joking way, but you know it's an insult. You know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I've dealt with that in the past, and those people have since been cut off. So anybody that I deal with now, again, I'm okay with playful banter. If you know, are joking with me or we had that relationship, I'm okay with that. I'm not saying I'm like a stick in the mud, but you know when somebody's not really effing with you, and you need to pay attention to those behaviors, because those people, they don't want to see you win, and they're not truly your friend. So if I catch those little nasty nice vibes, I immediately cut ties. Like I don't have time for it. Okay, so the fifth thing that I do not do anymore under any circumstances is compromise my mental health to be everything to everybody. So I've dealt with this in like past relationships. I've dealt with this in corporate America, like, oh, especially corporate America. Like, trying to climb the corporate ladder and like impress the higher ups. And so I am, you know, willing to do all the overtime or take on all these tasks and like not really getting recognized for it, or, you know, not getting paid properly, things like that. And then it would come at the expense of my mental health. Also, like I had a past relationship where the guy used to always ask me to like run these errands before or after work, and he and I worked a similar schedule. He just had to be at work later than I did, and it was like some days I just wanted to come home and just chill, but he always had like a list of things that he wanted me to do, and if I would say no, or I would say, you know, I don't feel like it, then I was made to be the bad guy, or, you know, I didn't care and stuff. So yeah, I've just learned that, you know, at the end of the day, you have to prioritize yourself. That comes like with anything you do, when it comes to your job, when it comes to people in your life. I'm not saying like not to prioritize others, because yeah, like your personal relationships, you definitely want to prioritize, but don't compromise your mental health, because you need that. If you're going to be happy and healthy, like you need to take care of yourself. You need to practice self-care. And sometimes self-care is saying no, even with relationships and even with these jobs. Like, don't overexert yourself for a job that's not showing you that same energy. I think the reason why I am much like happier these days and why I'm much more like calm is because with work, for example, my job is stressful, and I've talked about that in like different videos and just, you know, different like content that I've created. And I literally give my all during the time that I am scheduled to work. And after work, I let it go. I practice self-care, and I don't deal with it again until it's time to clock in again. Also, I don't take on additional tasks that I know are gonna stress me out, especially if you're not compensating me for it. Like, if you're not talking about extra cash or promotions, then I can't do it. You know, I have my son, I have my husband, I have myself. Those are the three people that I need to prioritize. So when it comes to work, I'm here to make the money, and I'm doing the job that I agreed to do, but I'm not doing additional that is going to just further stress me out, like more than what I already am. Even when it comes to overtime, I only do overtime if I want to do it. If I don't want to do it, I'm not doing it. I don't care about who I'm impressing or anything like that. There's nobody that's worth impressing more than me taking care of my mental health. And then when it comes to relationships, I don't have that problem right now. That's why he's my husband. But just even like in friendships and with family, if there are things that I can't do or I feel like I'm being overexerted, I will say no. So I went off on a little tangent there, but yeah, just don't compromise your mental health for anybody or anything. Like, there's nothing more important than your health and your mental well-being. So if it's too stressful, just say no. All right, you guys, so I feel like I was a little long-winded in this video, and I apologize about that, but I'm just very passionate about just taking care of yourself, not taking shit from people, and, you know, just really standing up for yourself. Like, I really do feel like sometimes we mistake being nice and being accommodating for being a pushover and just taking crap from people. And I know I've done that a lot in my life, and I'm just not about that anymore. Not in 2021 and beyond, honey. I mean, I've had this mindset for a few years, but I feel like it gets stronger and stronger with every year. So if you are struggling, just trying to figure out, you know, how to set boundaries and how to like put yourself first, like really you just have to start. At the end of the day, like, just think about the things that make you happy, think about the things that fulfill you, and do those things. And be okay with not everybody liking you, not everybody getting along with you. That's okay, because everybody's not supposed to like you, everybody's not supposed to get along with you. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself first and foremost, so you are able to take care of the people around you that you care about. So with that being said, if you guys enjoyed this video, please go on ahead and give me a thumbs up. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you have not subscribed and you made it this far, please go on ahead and click that subscribe button below, and be sure to turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any of my future uploads. With that being said, you guys have an amazing day, and I will see you next time.
You in the past.